So we're going to continue on with the Silver Spear. It's a reel in D. We'll start off.
I wanted to do a tutorial now on different whistle keys. So we're going to start the video tutorials off on D scale. We're going to play a tune now called Down by the Sally Gardens. It's a slow song in the key of D, so it's a good one to start with now that we've learned the scales. And what I'm going to do is play it slowly without any embellishment the first time, so you can kind of hear just the melody and make sure you get that. And then I'll run through the second time.
What's up, y'all? I know in the world of YouTube, 10,000 subscribers isn't a whole lot, but it sort of feels like it to me. I started this channel back in 2007 with this video, and since then I've added 187 more. I had to look that up. I also bought the domain name whistletutor.com back in 1999 and set up my first website, which was, to put it another way, about 3 years after I started learning to play the whistle myself, which is kind of stupid in retrospect. But to celebrate 10,000 subscribers, I'm giving away something kind of cool, I think. This brand new Gary Humphrey D whistle that he sent me about a year ago. I guess that makes it not entirely brand new, but it's newer than this old one, which I originally considered giving away, but I just can't part with it. Plus, I think Gary's had 15 years of practice since making this first one to kind of refine his technique, so I imagine the new ones are better anyway. So stick around to the end of the video if you want a chance to win it. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about slip jigs and some exercises and tricks and stuff you can do to kind of get that cool, stereotypical slip jig groove. Actually, we're going to talk about that in like 10 seconds or so. All right, trick number one. Actually, no, these aren't tricks. Exercise number one. Exercise number one, scales. Now I know I've covered scales probably ad nauseum in a bunch of other videos, and this one's going to be a little bit similar to one I did in just the general jig exercises video, which I posted like a year or so ago. But again, we're working on slip jig, so we're going to get that slip jig groove. So here's what we're going to do. We're going up the scale starting on D, and we're doing 3 sets of 3, because slip jigs are in 9/8, 3 triplets basically. So that's basically the first note. Second note would start on the E. Now you're just going up the scale. Now up tempo, and so on, just to try to get that kind of standard slip jig groove, and keep going. Now some of those scales, those sets of triplets, you probably wouldn't find in, say, a tune in the key of D, but here again we're just getting your fingers used to playing in that sort of slip jig groove. Try that one out. These are not things that I would say spend a whole ton of time on, but particularly if you're about to learn a slip jig, if there's one that's kind of on your list of tunes that you want to work on, this type of thing might help loosen your fingers up, get you a little bit used to it. Exercise number 2, arpeggios. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this also in the jig exercises video, but in this case, rather than just doing a basic set of 9 notes all in a row, which would be how we did the previous one, this one we're going to use arpeggios, which are triplets, or basically you're playing the notes in a chord. So if you were in D, say if you're going to play an arpeggio in D, that's an arpeggio. To do a scale out of that, which I mentioned earlier, right? I'm sure you've heard vocalists warm up to that sort of thing. We can do the same thing to get a slip jig groove, but even though that's just 7 notes. 7 notes, not really what we're looking for. So we need an extra 2 notes to give it basically a second triplet in there, or third triplet rather. So, right? And on up the scale that way. So all we're really doing, carrying on the phrase, sort of. And then from there, it leads right back into the next arpeggio. Again, run a scale on D on that, just getting your fingers used to it. The third exercise I would do is sort of a variant on both of those, and with this you're just working in cuts to give certain beats accents. I'll start off by just accenting the 1, the first beat, the downbeat in every bar. So you're kind of doing just a quick cut on that first beat in every set of 9 in every bar, right? Then from there you can do the same thing with the arpeggios. and so on, right? Again, just cutting that first downbeat, the 1. Once you're feeling pretty good about that, then you can mix it up. You can start adding in some accents on maybe the 4 and the 7, because those kind of help really punch up a tune, a slip jig. So right? So again, just kind of mixing it up a little bit, just trying to help accent some of those beats. And it's not necessarily always the same one. It's not always the 7 or the 4, however you want to do it. And it's not always the 1 for that matter. But early on, I think that kind of helps just to give it a little bit of punch. And you can do the same thing with the basic scale. Same idea, right? So again, just more practice and more kind of getting an idea for what that groove is supposed to be. Number 4, listen. Listen to as much of this as you can. I would say even more so than a jig, 6/8 groove. The 9/8 slip jig groove is a little bit harder to get your hands on if you're not used to it. And somebody can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but 9/8 is not a common time signature in really any other type of music. Not that I've ever run across. It's probably something that's going to sound a little bit odd. And if you listen to a bunch of different players, a bunch of different instruments, fiddles, the way they play it versus an accordion versus a whistle, it's going to get your head around it a lot faster, I think. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes some sense. I'm halfway done. So giveaway time. This one's a little different from the other giveaways I've done. First of all, if you enter, and especially if you win, please play this thing. I can't stop anybody from just entering just to enter. People do that, I get that, that's fine. But if you do, it'd be nice to give this to somebody who's really looking for a professional, high quality instrument, because that's what this is. Okay, so here's the rules, and again, they're a little bit different than usual. Number 1, give the video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you're already subscribed, first of all, thank you. I appreciate you getting me to 10,000. And don't worry, this is not just for new subscribers or anything, so just give it the thumbs up. Number 2, leave a comment down below and specifically tell me what it is you're playing right now, what type of whistle you're playing right now. I'm just always curious about what other kind of instruments folks are playing, and I was giving some thought to doing some other comparison videos between different whistles, so I kind of want to see what the barometer is of the folks that are playing. If you don't have a whistle at all, no problem, that's fine. Just tell me that. Tell me you just want to get started playing. Either way, just let me know in the comments. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that's how long this is going to be running for. I'm not sure exactly what day this is going to post because I'm working, I'm on a business trip, and I got stuff to do. But 2 weeks from the day that... Here, look, let's just go. That's when the contest will be over. That's when I'm going to do the drawing and randomly select a winner from the folks who've liked and subscribed and done the comments and all that good stuff. So good luck. Thanks again for all the support for what seems like forever, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.